I also wanted, you have been absolutely on top of this whole Facebook story for some time now, and wondering, what's the latest there?
Well, I think that there's some internal debate at the company about whether to stick to this policy of allowing politicians to lie in ads. It hasn't gone over well and is already having a pretty negative impact on the information environment as it stands, but it's likely to get a lot worse, especially as you get closer to election day. That's when really people start launching their negative attacks. So what we learned today, this morning in the Wall Street Journal, is that it's Peter Thiel, who is a right-wing billionaire, member of the Trump transition team, and also a member of the Facebook board, who has really been in Mark Zuckerberg's ear and has essentially convinced him to stick to this policy, despite other people, both on the board level, but then we also know people in the rank and file of Facebook who don't support this policy.
Right. So, and I, I read that story this morning, not in the Journal, but it was somebody reporting their reporting, I'm guessing. And one of the things it kind of suggested is that Zuckerberg himself is turning to the right. He's been hosted a couple of times, I guess, at the White House by Donald Trump, kind of semi-secretly, and he's been inviting Republican senators out and legislators out to his place on the West Coast. Do you think he's about to come out as a quote conservative, or where this is going?
Well, I don't know how he views himself personally, but I think what he has decided and what the company has decided is their top priority is to avoid regulatory action that will break up the company. And they have decided that aligning themselves with the Republicans is the best way to make that happen.
Which makes
sense. So whatever the politics are besides that, Zuckerberg himself has, claimed to be, pro-immigration and hold a number of other progressive views, but all of those are being pushed to the wayside because they're really just focused on avoiding regulation and the potential breakup of the company, which is a real possibility if a Democrat is elected in 2020.
Well, somebody should tell him, as the majority stockholder of Facebook, that when AT&T was broken up, 1 year later, anybody who owned one share of AT&T stock and ended up with 7 shares in the Baby Bells and Bell Labs actually saw, I believe it was an almost 100% appreciation, increase in the value of their stock. Same thing when Standard Oil was broken up into over 20 companies back in I think it was 1912, ultimately, that Taft finally did that job. That if you owned a share of Standard Oil before, and then, and thus owned a share in all those smaller companies that resulted from it, you became much, much richer. I mean, the breaking up big companies produces increased shareholder value dramatically, and history is pretty solid about that.